Just quickly getting something. Good with keyboard, so I can still do something. Okay. Let's see. Does that work? Yeah. No. Set this aside then. And let's get some space on the disk. Where do I put this? Because a reset keyboard though. Okay. Very interesting playlist. I would say we can start with the stabilizers. Would be fine. If that's already out of the way. Already have the wires pre-Holee modded because I'm too lazy to do that on stream. And since this keyboard has plate mounted steps, I need to use those Novelkeys ones instead of Durock ones that I have laying around. For the spacebar, shift, other shift, enter, and backspace. If you're right. Spacebar, shift, other shift. Since it's a TKL, I also have to do one more than most other small boards. But at least I'm getting some use out of my plate mounted stabilizers now, because I had those laying around for probably 2 years or 3 years or more. Yeah. I think this somewhere. Nice. Is the entire playlist just Russian? It looks like it, yes. Well, it'll be fun.
Свет за окном к себе не подпустит. Родина грустных, мои слова равны нулю. Если когда-то отпустит, я тут привык жить не на люксе, а держать руку на пульсе. Я забываю, чтобы увидеть, как там делишки в Иркутске. И я бы повторил все еще раз, и я бы разорвал сердце на куски. Я бы собирал его снова, и снова повторял, ведь я на пути. Но я бы и пальцем тебя не тронул.
Just quickly getting something against my allergies.
Все врут, СМИ вокруг, слив подруг. Мои доводы, попытки, мутки до тебя медленно, но дойдут.
Okay, better. Hopefully.
Похоже на монолит, нужно больше любви. Дай нам Боже любви, дай мне знак, дальше как в полумраке фонарем. Фланг на фланг, флаг на флаг, это все я мою. Дай мне знак, дальше как в полумраке фонарем.
Let's get those houses started. Pretty sure we also need a bit more loop. Been a while since I've done it. Just did some little keyboard fixes here and there the last couple months, but nothing really big, like a build or anything. Just maybe swapped some switches around, maybe fixed some stabilizers, changed some keycaps, added some foam to some boards, removed some foam from others. Really not a lot. I'm planning to do more. The coming monster, hopefully. Here I could also just loop up the stem and just ignore the housing. Would be basically identical. Okay. I still got so many things in my stash. Can do so many switches. I have no idea where to put them. Since we looped the house, we don't need to loop the stem as much. Honestly. Okay. Was it the 2 holds forward or just the 1 hold? Yeah, 2 holds forward. That's how long it's been. I don't even remember how stabilizers are put together. Shaking my head. Interesting. It's actually getting darker outside. It's the 35 degrees. It's summer. Oh. 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 Interesting. Hopefully. Can't wait to tune those stabilizers. Pure agony. Absolute pure agony of stabilizers. And this keyboard I probably will also for the bandage mod steps, depending on how tight they fit, and also maybe go for a silent board or not. Currently thinking this board will be a silent build, but I'm not entirely sure. And of course we can always swap around. But I don't really have a lot of silent boards, just one. And I built that like 4 years ago. Would be cool to have finally something more on the fleet. Okay. How do I loop the steps? Like the wires? I wonder. I should do it also with Krytox, with XHDPC, maybe even directly grease, but probably just Krytox. Okay. Yeah, let's just use more Krytox. It's mainly just a hobby, but if people would approach me if they want to buy something, I'm not entirely opposed to it. But it's mainly just something I like doing and collecting. I have like 12, 13 keyboards myself. I built one for my girlfriend as well. Friends as well, so if people approach me, I'm not opposed to, generally. But as it's not that cheap, most normal people don't care that much about it. Like even this Aliexpress boards will probably end up being everything combined 150 to maybe 200, all things considered. Gotta put a lot of loop to saturate those band-aids. I was thinking once if I could maybe make an eBay store where I basically limit myself to building 60% keyboards, since that's not that expensive. But I never really felt like the market is there for where I live. Like I would probably need to do a lot of international shipping, which kinda ruins the point of it being cheap. And where I live, Germany, people don't use the layout I built. Like all custom keyboard parts are in ANSI layout, which is the American layout, but not ISO, which is the layout a lot of other countries use. All the parts I get are mainly just ANSI, so people in Germany or Europe don't really need that. There are definitely builds that support ISO, but They are more expensive, harder to get, and there's just not as much, what's the word, variety. And I have to buy what's there. How long does it take to build? Depends. Just the building itself, all in all, if I take my time, an hour, 2 hours. Just building stuff together. Including the stabilizers, which usually take the longest, which I'm doing right now. Yeah, it's also just, you want the stabilizers to be basically silent and feel good. And that probably takes the longest time to really tune them to what they should be. Because for most enthusiasts, they make and break a keyboard. Like if the stabilizers have a tick or feel bad, it ruins the entire experience. And I agree with that. But generally, just building the keyboard itself is like solid 2 hours, I would say. But then you also have things like preparing and looping your switches. If you already spent that much time and money on building the keyboard, you might as well also loop your switches. Maybe even spring swap it so they feel exactly how you want them to feel. And some other things. And just preparing your switches can take between 4 and 8 hours, I would say. So that's definitely the part that takes the longest, hence the most tedious. But it also depends on how big your keyboard is that you want to build. A 60% keyboard only has 61 keys, so you only have to prepare 61 switches. A TKL has, I don't know, like 80 something. So that's already 20 more switches you have to prepare and do. Which is a big difference. Or if you want a full size, you have like 100 something, 110, I think. So it's nearly double of what a 60% keyboard needs to do in terms of switches. Thanks for the follow, Diana. Yeah. And also, for example, full-size keyboards need 3 more stabilizers for the numpad, which every smaller keyboard does not need since they don't have a numpad usually. Small ones. That's more expensive for one, and also a lot more time consuming to also try to get those sound right. Like the main reason why I want to rebuild 2 of my keyboards at the moment is purely because the stabilizers don't good anymore. Or they never really sounded good in the first place, but they were my first 2 keyboard builds, so I didn't have that much experience that. And the problem is, back then, when I started with the hobby, there were no real hot swap keyboards where you could just pull out the switches and put in new ones or swap things out on the fly. So they are both soldered. So you have to desolder the entire keyboard, fix things, and then solder it all back together. And that takes even longer. Like just desoldering probably takes a good 2 hours for a 65 keyboard, 65% keyboard. Because I don't have an electric desoldering pump, because those are expensive. And I don't have that many soldered keyboards for it to really matter for me. I really only have 2 keyboards that are soldered. But a lot of, I wouldn't say elitists, but maybe purists of the keyboard hobby prefer soldering still over hot swap, because it still feels a bit more solid while typing and whatnot. Ooh, hello Fizz. Thanks for the refresh. How are you doing? Been a long while since I've seen you, but I was also out and about in the summer a lot, so never really had the chance. Oh, unfortunate. But the grind must go on. Also, if anybody is curious of what I'm doing throughout this process, go ahead and ask, and I can try to explain it and show it a bit more in detail, since from this distance you can't really exactly tell what I'm doing here. Besides doing stabilizers.
Передаю символы и читаю внутри. По всем углам квартиры собирал мозги. По всем краям вселенной, чтобы принести тебе, братишка, это дерьмо. Будьте людьми. Мой серый мир.
But yeah, all in all, a more premium keyboard build can probably take, say, 15 hours of total work time. I would say that's appropriate. And then if you want to change or need to fix anything, of course that eats away even more into your time. But this one today should be a lot quicker. At least what you are seeing. Like the switches I'm using, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite set on what switches we're using today on this keyboard. I have a couple in mind, but I'm not quite set on anything yet. Some of them I already looped like months or years ago. Some came very well looped stock from the factory, which is a pretty nice thing that quite recently came up in the keyboard hobby, that the more enthusiast switches and brands started pre-looping them in their factory quite well actually. A lot of good switches don't need that much looping anymore. Which makes them more expensive, but you save so much time. Yeah, I think I have some silent switches, I have some semi-silence, I have some normal linears, which we could use for this. Not quite sure yet. I also try to prepare as much before the stream as I can, so the building process is nice and smooth. Like I already prepared the wires a bit more than what you see me doing right now here. I already did the variation of the Holee mod. That's how they call it in the keyboard community. That's where you put some band-aid or cloth tape inside the stabilizers to make it tighter and don't rattle as much, where the wire has contact with the plastic. What I did instead of putting it inside the stabilizer, which is very annoying to do, I put it on the wire itself. I can show you. I put this in. You can see there's some cloth tape around the end of this wire. Instead of putting it inside the plastic, where it's very annoying to stick to, very annoying to cut, you just wrap it around the wire and basically makes the entire assembly a bit tighter, a bit more snug, and also just generally the metal can't rattle around in the plastic as much and is a bit silenced. That together with the grease I'm applying is hopefully enough to make them virtually silent. That's what enthusiasts usually are looking for. Like, you still want to hear the key, but you do not want to hear anything related to the stabilization of that bigger key, like enter, shift, backspace, spacebar especially. Like, if those keys sound horrible because of the wire, it's a real bummer. It makes the entire experience just a lot worse. It's always nice if you can get it right on the first attempt. And giving you every little advantage that you can get is very useful, because removing them again, pulling them apart, reapplying the loop, it's always very annoying. You also don't want to overloop them, because then they just get mushy and feel bad, and it's just a bad time. Usually it's best if you do it for the first time, you apply a little bit too much, and as you use it for like the first day or so, it just spreads around inside the stabilizer housing and eventually be right on point. And then later on, you noticed maybe you did a little bit too little, since now it's spread around in the housing, you can go in again and apply a little bit more. Also more viscous greases than this one. People like to use for stabilizers. It doesn't spread as much. But I feel like if you use the Holee mod and the very thick grease, the stabilizers tend to just feel very, very mushy. And then you're really not having a great time. So it's a fine balance of many things, which makes it even more so annoying. By the way, if somebody wants different music, be free to just let me know. Just put on some random lo-fi playlist that didn't look too generic, and it just ended up being a full-on Russian one. Just trying to not get too many copyright strikes on this stream, and then ending up having to mute the VOD. But I will also upload this separately later, just to my YouTube playlist, so it's saved there as well. And I'm recording it on the side, so hopefully that one won't be muted then. case anything happens. Had that problem with other streams of mine. And I tried to save keyboard streams at least. So people that are interested can go back on it. And I can also see what I did. Okay. That's basically the wires order. Oh my god, I'm stupid. Well, at least nobody saw it. Is it the wrong way around? Okay. Cleaning up. Brush a bit. Okay. It should be most of the looping for now. Maybe we have to do some later. Move this to the side now for now. This also. And get a look at the plate on the other keyboard. Okay. This is without the top on the keyboard. What we want to do, but first remove the original stabilizers because they suck, or kind of loose. We also have to see if ours are also loose, and if they are, we need to wedge in some of that soft tape that I used in between the plate and the stabilizer and make it tighter that way. Now we just pop them out. It's just a little plastic tap that you can press down and then they start lifting out. At least in case of those plate mounted stabilizers, it's not that hard. Nothing screwed in or anything. Come on. They come pre-loop from the factory? No. There's a tiny bit, but essentially non-existent. Okay. I didn't expect much from random ball I bought on Aliexpress. Yeah. Sometimes there's some rubber with the slits on the spacebar for sound and dampening, but they won't allow us to remove the wire like this. Okay. I guess we can, yeah, let's put the new ones in and see how they fit in and how they sound, and then we go around and try to modify the case maybe a bit. Oh, they are very loose. Okay. So you can basically get already the tape. Good to know. the moment you introduce more possible movement when they absolutely have to, just will create annoying noises. So we just use some of this tape. A bit thick, sticky. Basically perfect for this. And we will put it on the side where you clip the stabilizers in. In this case, this is the bottom side here. I'm pretty sure they also use kind of tape in hospitals to not irritate your skin too much if they have to tape something down. This bit isn't sticky anymore. Jesus. Okay. Now we just kind of guesstimate how long this has, how thick this has to be. This. Yeah, that works. And I can cut it in half and basically use one on each side. And since the tape is white and the plate is white, you don't really see much of it in the end. But even if they are different colors, once everything is together, you can't really tell that there's anything there that shouldn't be there. Or wasn't originally there. Stick it down there. Press on the inside here so it sticks there. And just fold it over. Not much you can screw up here. I was maybe thinking of placing some tape on the bottom of the plate, of the PCB basically. Because then you bottom out, it dampens it a bit. Not a feeling everybody likes, but it also reduces the general sound. If it's supposed to maybe be a quiet keyboard later on, I was thinking that maybe that might make some sense. A lot tighter now, better. But I already saw that because the other ones came pre-looped a bit, there's already some loop on the PCB, the bottom of them, which makes it really, really annoying to try to stick anything on them anymore. So I don't think I will bother. We will just see how it sounds in the end. Maybe I decide to do it anyway. Just basically eyeballing thickness. If it's a bit too thick, you can probably still wedge it in, no problem. And it's a bit too thin, it's also usually no biggie. As long as you get the general shape right. This one is a tiny bit too big. But it really doesn't matter. Over again. Against the inside, so it's somewhat. Like most of the sticking will be happening from the stabilizer itself, pressing against it. It just needs to stay in place until the stabilizer is pressing against it. Let's try this playlist, maybe that's at least a bit better. And then I'm just checking because I made the bit a bit tighter of the clip that secures it into the plate. Actually is able to close and not interfere with anything. Rarely happens, but just in case. Before I started today, I kind of forgot that this is even a keyboard with plate mounted steps. No. Really hope we don't have to do anything or a lot to the stabilizers after this. Because it's already annoying to try to tune PCB mounted stabilizers, which are a lot more secure. And usually because they are a lot more secure, also sound better than those plate mounted ones we are installing right now. They have a lot more play in them by design, which just introduces a lot more unwanted sounds for us. But they've already made like a couple keyboards with plate mounted steps which sounded really, really good. So, not necessarily a bad thing. They are well made and you manage to tune them just right. It's just harder. Okay. The low-fi version of Backstreet Boys. Is that actually boys? Regardless, love it. Definitely not something I expected to listen today. I wanted to overlap to anything, to any other slots for other switches, so but even shorten them even more. A bit annoying. Can show you on those two how it looks a bit more up in person. Since it's all white, it's hard to see. This slot I didn't do yet. On the top there's nothing. And on this slot there's here and here some tape, making the slot ever so tighter. So when this clips in, you won't have as much of wiggle room back and forth. Some plates are already cut so tight that you don't have to do this. And some, like this one, are just loose enough for them to just wiggle around when you try to do any force on them. Nice, so now we're getting a lo-fi version of Wonderwall. That's lovely. So, last slot. Okay. There's some prior grease from the stabilizers beforehand on this side, so it's sticking really poorly. But it should be enough anyway for those to just quickly slide in. Yep, perfect. Just pins again. And it. Now I just need to get some keycaps and switches to check what those stabilizers sound. Right back. Those in the ash. Those. Oh, never mind. Okay, I got them. Might as well test with the keycaps that I will use in the build in the end. And random switches. Great playlist. Already love it. Very simple. Black and white. already know this. Keycaps on the bend, so see how I'm pressing them onto the stabilizer and return properly. And but it doesn't. I meant where I don't return. But in this case it's because of the keycaps being this, the wire just jams when you press it down. Putting it out a bit more on one side than the other, and then from there. Okay. Definitely win. Time with the baseball. Rest in theory is fine. Just at least for now, might be just fine. That's something that I have to probably address later. Might also be different with a different switch since those are, I believe, long ports, so yeah, they are. Those also can affect bigger keys. You apply different pressure on both sides when pressing down on keycap. Okay, those are fine, those are good. Don't think we need to do anything else with them. And I think we will also leave out the tape on the bottom. Don't think it's needed. This is a plastic board, there's not a lot of resonance, and we're also quieting it down further with the other things we're gonna do. Okay. Let's get those out of the way for now. Perfect. And I think we are gonna screw it apart and try to add some form into the empty back plastic. Okay. And up. We just have to remove those normal. Or just and then we just try to fill this with foam. In this case, this shelf lining. Pretty easy to work with, so I like it. How much we actually need of it. From here to roughly cut it here. We go from here to the end. Okay. Nice thing, you can just rip it. Straight line. Probably have to make it smaller chunks because of the plastic stabilizers. Let's just see where this gets us. Okay. Have to remove some from here. Also, here's a pole. That's why shelf line is pretty cool. You can just rip out the parts of it quite easily. So you can fit things like those standoffs. Nothing. Also move it. They're not lost if we move to. Can be a bit adjusted. Okay, so we probably still have to do both sides anyway. Because of the Type-C ports, but also yeah, out of the side for some reason. Also here, there will be a lot of ripping with this, unfortunately. Let's finish the standards first. Here's another. Here's another. Yeah. Yeah. Two right in between. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, the thing is, there's a lot of plastic below. It goes quite far. And it is in the way. Or especially on top. Yeah. Be free anyway. Let's try to rip it and then pull it off. There are definitely cases which are a lot easier to put foam into than this one. Okay. There's a foam line quite here, which I think will be in the way when we do this down. Get this out of like here. Or like this. This like a 3x3 block. Another one because there's another screw. Okay. We are slowly getting somewhere. There should be another big hole here. Yep. We also need to get this free. Okay. And I think one right next to this. Since there's another USB port anyway, we have to remove this part regardless. Okay. Any more? No. Okay. Then let's see if this can even go together like this, or if I have to make it fit deeper in. Oh, it needs to sit on the plastic. Okay. That's doable. Fine. Just a bit more work. Like here's a little plastic thing. Now we have to get it into smaller pieces and chunks which we need to stick into the case. Right around this line. Let's be back at Wonderwall. Okay. This fits already better. Here. Here. Probably have to rip it. Line. Yep. Okay. It won't be pretty, but nobody will see it. Okay. The line might have to go, but we will keep it for now. So. Okay. How fast this line? They're here. Okay. Yes. When it starts here again. Probably again. The end. Yep. Okay. Alright. There as well. Got this. Let's see if this closes now, or if we have to do a bottom row as well. Okay, now the bottom row also needs to be done. Yeah, we're basically done. Probably have to remove this entire line here. Directly on the ridge. Okay. Oh, there's another one. Even noticed that before. It's oh. Just on that spot. Surely now it fits. Yep, looks like it. Wonder for what the one more screw hole is. Because I definitely know I only had that many screws. There's one more hole. We will see. I don't think there's anything below that hole though. Okay. It is dampened, no? I don't think I want to put any tape on the bottom of the PCB if I want to make it silent. Do you think that's necessary? But it should be very easy with this keyboard, so we might do it later. Basically already the point where I put on switches, because I don't really want to close it yet, because it's super hard to open again. So, let me get the switches. I also think I noticed something. to assemble it the other way around. This. Like this. You want to screw it in. Lost it from... What does go through? Okay. We did it right. Because I thought you might need to screw this to the back of the PCB. And then screw the case. Screw down into the case. Okay, then we did everything. Also paint together of that piece of shit plastic. Okay. We are going with some VJ Studio Silent. They are dampened on the up and on the bottom stroke, so when I press them you basically can't hear anything. So this keyboard will sound hopefully very quiet and hollow. No, not hollow, but generally very quiet. What's the goal for today? Take a quiet build with a bit more unoffensive colors. I do fear that those switches don't have enough power yet to remove the freshly looped stabilizers. Might have to break the stabilizers in a bit more first. Because those switches don't have a very strong spring. The spring is like, I don't know, it feels like a 55 gram spring. Or 50 gram spring even. Which is not that heavy. We might not be able to push the stabilizers up just yet. Because they are freshly looped and still a bit hard to move. But we can fix it. They do look well on the white, to be honest. Like the full on white with the switches in the plate. Kinda like it. We go with the white keycaps. Very classy build, that's for sure. No, that bent. What I'm doing here is basically because this is a hot swap keyboard. This switch has like a couple metal pins on the bottom, as you can see. And I'm pressing those into a socket on the PCB, which connects the circuit basically. So you don't need to solder anything here. Just gotta make sure the pins are straight from factory, because sometimes in shipping or in storage they get pushed around and bent, and if you then try to put a bent pin into the socket, it either crushes the pin, makes you try to operate it back to a normal shape, or worst case scenario, the bent pin will push the socket out and then you have to solder the socket again, which defeats the purpose of having a hot swap keyboard. I never had it happen where the hot swap socket broke on me and I had to resolder it, but I've seen it online. I've built my fair share of cheaper Aliexpress boards and they were all hot swap, but none of them broke yet. I'm trying to put some switches in. And I'm sometimes not that careful. But if I have to, I could solder it back probably. Not that hard. Really hope this sounds decent with silent switches. Silent switches have, even though they are silenced, a particular sound profile usually. Because they have a little oomph. That makes sense. They sound a bit more airy. That's at least how it is in my other board with silent switches. But with different ones than this. That's what I meant with bent pin, by the way. If I put this one in, it would either get crushed down or push against the socket until something breaks. Yeah, it is. I hope I bought enough for TKL. Because sometimes I'm also only buying 70 switches. And I don't think 70 is quite enough for TKL. Usually you can buy switches in packs of 70, 90 or 110. Or they get sold in like 10 or 35 increments. To fit different keyboard sizes. Because you don't need to buy 110 switches if you just plan on equipping out a TKL like this one or a 60 or 65%. The first time really using Wuche Studio switches, but I've heard a lot of good things on the internet. They are supposed to be very well pre-looped switches from the factory, good tolerances, very little spring ping, and also quite affordable, considering all those things. I think like a pack for 70 or 90 of those were 45 euros, I think. It's a good price, it's solid. Like a solid mid-ranger. But considering that people say that they don't need to be looped, that's at least what I heard. Pretty good deal. Saves you a lot of time. And it's not that expensive, because if you buy switches hand looped online, like some people offer looping services where they sell particular switches looped. And that's usually doubling the price of the switch. Like if you paid 45 euros for a pack of 90, if you buy it hand loop from somebody online, it's probably costing you 90 plus. Because it is time intensive. Like that person probably spent 2 to 4 hours at least looping those switches. And there's also material cost involved as well. So it does make sense. Yeah, definitely bought enough. Most of those pins were straight though. Pretty good. Sometimes some batches have like horrible bent pins on nearly every switch. It's super annoying. But those were mainly fine. Yeah. By the way, I bought them from Kinetic Labs, just in case somebody wants to look at the switches themselves online, what kind of prices you can expect. And let me quickly try to break in the stabilizers a bit. Basically using a Juwelier holder. Putting it on the stabilizer stem and just Trying to move them up and down. Basically spreading the loop that's already in there. That's what I do with the other stabilizers I have. But those seem to be too small for it. What are they? That's fine. Just you put it on there and then I just move it up and down. Hello Goite, how are you doing? Looks a bit weird, but just giving it some movement allows for the loop we applied to spread. Come on, why is this not grabbing on? Weird, but we take those. We already had one. I would say it's doing alright. This is a very simple build today, so there's not much happening today. I basically did the stabilizers, put some form into the case, and just putting on the switches now. Very simple, straightforward thing today. Okay. Spacebar's moving better now. Just some good jerking. Okay, let me see, what did you send me? Oof. Is that chili? Or just some tomato sauce? Looks really good though with the rice as well. It's tomato sauce, okay. Tomato sauce, corn, some carrots. Looks really nice. Did you put on some sesame seeds? Okay. Lovely presentation. Okay, figure this one out. They do taste good, yes. But it's also just great presentation. Yeah, I freshly looped those stabilizers and Holee modded them, so sometimes you need to break them in a bit. You could just do it with a keycap on there and just keep pressing the keycap. But that only works if the switch is strong enough to at least push it back a bit more. And those switches are very light. They're not very hard to press. So they just don't quite have the power to push it back enough for it to be fast enough for me. They also give a bit of texture. Not a whole lot, but at least for me it's pretty nice. Jeez, it's already close to 5. Slept a bit too long today. Okay, it's just the shift anymore. The rest should be okay. Oof, that's rough. I think I also woke up a bit early today. Not as early as usual for work, but I went to sleep at also like 3 or 3:30. Woke up at like 9. Closed all windows because it already got too warm. And went back to bed and woke up again at like 12. Thankfully no work to do. Okay. Let's put in the keycaps. There's a top case as well to this. Also like this. But it clips on and it's super hard to get off again. So I want to make sure things sound alright before I put anything funny. Degrees for entire week. Yeah, I mean, for right now it's 35 degrees where I live. And yes, I'm melting. Thankfully my apartment can somewhat keep in the cold from the night. But it's... in the evening it's just not holding up anymore and it's getting way too warm in here. But it's supposed to get colder again. So I'm a believer. Like there was, I think, 2 days ago it was raining here as well. It was really, really nice. But I have, I don't know how to call it in English. Since I live right under the roof, my apartment. It's the furthest up in the house. I don't have too many windows that are flat against the wall. I have a couple of roof windows. I guess that's what you call it. And I can't open roof windows when it's raining. Because otherwise it would just rain into the house. So when it's raining I can only really use like 3 of my 6 or 7 windows. Yeah, I mean you can open them a little bit. But if you just open them a little bit, there's a good chance they just fall close again. Especially since usually it's also windy when it's raining. If you open them a bit too far, they might stay open, but then it's just raining into your apartment. Definitely not the best. But still, this apartment is a lot better in this department than my old apartment. My old apartment only had 2 windows. And both were on the same side of the wall, so I was never really able to get any sort of draft through the apartment at night. It never really cooled down that much. And when the day it was just horrible. Nice. Remember last summer it was the heaviest rain. Here some worker had their car window open. Yeah. I mean, they might appreciate it that you warn them, but also they might be just super annoyed that you try to wake them up at 2 AM. But having your car window open like a storm, it's super shit. If you're unlucky, you might as well just sell the car afterwards. But you have to get a deep clean and a good drying. Like remove literally everything inside. Get it dried. Like either way it sounds super shit. You can do, but it probably takes a long while, no? I mean, yeah, but all the carpets will be soaked, probably. Your seats will be soaked. There might be some shit behind the dash or whatever. I don't know. The roof liner maybe also might be completely soaked, and there's also the isolation behind it, which might get moldy then. No? I know about some drain plugs, yeah. Yeah, I guess it heavily depends on what kind of car it is. Okay. Getting a bit more confident with this keyboard. Even though I still think the switches might need some lubing on their springs. Like just some spring lubing might be enough for the switches to be basically perfect. When pressing the dome, I don't really feel like they have any scratch or any issues there. But I think I can hear the spring a little bit. I don't know if that will come across on the microphone though when I'm done. It's just something I can pick up in person. You got the air dry for 2 weeks, yeah. I mean, the same as when you get any moisture into your house, into the wards or whatever. It just takes forever to get it out again. This might be my first TKL with a normal bottom row. Yeah, of course. That's why it's insulating. The other ones coming back quite easily, but the spacebar... Might just have to just not put it on quite fully. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Yeah, if you can avoid it, you definitely should. But also I'm the type of person that rarely ever drives with their windows down in the car anyway. Maybe when it's super hot and my car stood in the sun, I keep the window open for like a couple minutes for the hot air to escape. But then eventually, especially when the AC kicks in, I instantly close them because it's just making it worse instead of better. Yeah, at the moment, like, my car probably needs a minute. It starts cooling down already. But my car's also brand new, so I would hope it does. Okay, how does this shitty row look like? I always forget. Pause. Print screen. Scroller pause, okay. They're probably insert homepage up. Okay, they are sorted in this tray. lovely. Sometimes they're not. The old cards that have working AC is a blessing. My Shamanin, Shaman, Adventures in Warming. I would say pretty solid. It's mainly just, I want to play it a bit there. Just to see how quick I can probably beat most other Shamans in Warming, because there's basically no one that plays it. And also just get a feeling already how fights might go as Shaman. So it's a mix out of curiosity and already seeing how things might go in Classic. Delete and... delete and page down. Okay, that's all the keys on here. Hand tattoos are fucking sick. Like, my hand tattoo is probably my favorite one on my entire arm. Period. Like, I'm so happy I got it. Yeah, I mean, the healing process, like the first 2 weeks or so, will be pretty shit as a mechanic. That's true. You could try to do it while having like a week off at least. So at the start of the week you get the tattoo, and then have like 6-7 days for it to start heal, and then at work you just need to wear gloves while it's healing. Like the only way. But generally I feel like hands heal quite fast. Okay, that's how it will look like. Yeah, I know. It's dirty work. But as long as it's just a hand tattoo, for example, you can still wear gloves and be fine. Okay, how do we clip this in at best? Because okay. Getting it apart was super annoying. Okay. By the way, I hate clips on keyboards. They're super annoying to get back out or open without breaking anything. It's probably not even that much cheaper than just using screws. It's just lazy. Okay. Yeah, it's a nightmare to put back out. Like, trying to pry anything open without bending the plastic or trying to break anything else, just shit. But yeah, this is the keyboard, basically how it's supposed to be, how I imagined it. I wanted something classy, and I feel like you never go wrong with a black smoky keyboard having white keycaps. I can imagine though, like some of the semi-transparent keycaps from KBD fans might look super good on this. I can show you after I finish screwing this down. They are probably a bit too expensive for a keyboard like this, but might be cool. Let me see if I can find the screws though. I think those are that. Like, there are keycaps which are also double shot plastic, and like the outer shell is a smoky dark plastic, and then below is a different color. Does cave in reforged? the game or server, or what can I imagine what that is? PS was what? Ah. What kind of patches does cave on then? Graph, interesting. Ah, so like old Lordaeron, making you play through vanilla and TBC at a bit quicker pace. Warmain is also doing that. Ah, okay, okay. Just custom content vanilla, okay. There's also old Lordaeron on Warmain, where we locked it to vanilla at first, had custom content there. Then we locked it to TBC after a while, with the normal chronological raid releases. And then eventually to Rev. Okay, let me see if this shit works. And I probably have to turn off a lot of RGB. Yeah. I'm generally not too interested into full-on vanilla stuff. Just quickly checking if everything works. Yeah, vanilla I really never warmed up to vanilla. I don't know. I'm not gonna test my F keys because those just end the stream if I press the wrong thing. Interesting. This one changes color. Whatever. Ah, okay, this is the different layer, probably. Okay, that works. I'm not too happy with the spacebar for now. It feels like there's a little bit of wire sound coming from the spacebar, which I don't like. Maybe if we swap around and use it upside down, that sometimes fixes it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm also not that keen on leveling generally in WoW. Like, I love the game at max level and spend time there. But I really don't like leveling too much. Even Even if it's times 7 experience rate, I don't like it. Bit better, but it still has that sound. Oh well. I will just need to use it a bit and see if it goes away or gets more or whatnot. Okay. Guess we can try to do a little typing test. I probably want a wrist rest with this one, so let me quickly just clean up my other desk so I can reach things. Doesn't quite fit for TKL, but I think it will make do. Okay. I've been typing on an Alice, so a split keyboard, for a long time, so I might not be able to type that well on this one for now. But okay. Change this. Actually lines up quite well. Okay. I increased the volume of the headset, the microphone, so you can hear things a bit better. I hope you can still hear the keyboards, but we will see. Okay, it's very quiet. I'm not entirely too keen on this. And backspace also. Okay. Let's do another one. It is very quiet. Probably quieter than the one I had before. Like, mean, you still hear when you type. That's for sure. It's just very different. But I think those switches still need grooving. Like you can hear. I can hear the spring still needing some loop. But okay, I can give you a little comparison to our keyboard so you can hear how quiet this actually is. Give me a minute. This is a keyboard with normal linear switches. Sorry for the creaking, by the way. Okay. So you can hear it's quite the difference in noise. But okay, let me change the scene back and everything. Okay. Get our stuff set up big. Nice. Yeah, the volume is quite different. Yeah, this one's very like it's a linear. It's not clicking at all. That's the thing. Just a smooth up and down. What you hear is me bottoming out the switch, like pressing down, then the switch going back up and hitting the top. That's all you hear. I also have tactile switches that have a bump, like with a bump in the middle when pressing. You can hear that too a little bit, but it's still not a click, like not a traditional click. But yeah, I'm pretty happy how this turned out. I think all in all, this probably cost me like 150, 160 in material euros, which is a bit above pure budget. That's the not crazy expensive. What I wanted to show you was plugged in. Okay. KB defense. Can I show my display? Yes. This is KB defense, and they recently made their own keycaps, their own more than everything. You can see it on other keycaps as well. Like, you can see it on those already. There's like an outer shell, which is red, but it's semi-transparent. You can see the white from the legend, which is also, because it's double shot, it's also below, peeking through a bit. There should also be some smoky black. Let me see if I can find that. I've seen it at least before. Thanks for joining in, Koito. It was nice talking to you. Yeah, you can see it here, the smoky housing with the other colors peeking through. Looks very cool. It might look really cool on this kind of keyboard, but I think it's a bit too expensive for this kind of board. Okay, I'm still happy how it turned out. Maybe eventually I will buy a set like that anyway, because I like how it looks, and see how it might fare on like a semi-transparent keyboard. But okay guys, thanks for watching everyone. Hope you enjoyed the little keyboard adventures. It's been a while since I've done something similar, and I'm hoping I can do a couple more before I need to invest more into this hobby. Since I've still have two keyboards I want to rebuild. That should be completely fine and be a great content for a stream. But I still need to prepare quite a lot of things for that, so that's still a bit away. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope I can see you in some of the other streams. Bye.